Hi, this is Becca Forsythe. I am wrapping up my second year as a student at Rutgers University School of Social Work in their 100% online program. I've been serving my internship of Family Services of Chemung County at the main clinic, acting in the capacity as a therapist. I'm learning a lot about the ability of social workers to link clients with important resources in their community. One of my first clients was involved in domestic violence and asked for information about our local shelter. I didn't know the right answer. It was the first time in this context, although I know it won't be the last. I haven't been able to personally use these resources, so I wasn't 100% sure what was available or how to use it. I started by asking around the office, but I found out that most of us have dog-eared lists of alphabetical agencies without a lot of detail. I noticed that we have some great speakers come in and talk about various services, but most of that, I fear, ends up with a business card being shoved into the back of your desk, quickly forgotten. As my end of the semester macro project, I decided to design a directory of community resources for domestic violence. What came out was an 18-page research paper, and this. What I learned is that domestic violence is a huge problem in our area. New York State tells us that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Our local domestic violence hotline takes over 1,100 calls a year, and our local shelter opened 300 new cases in Chemung County just last year. This issue doesn't concern itself with underfunding, understaffing, or caseload capacity. It doesn't care if a therapist is knowledgeable or if the services are billable. In fact, it usually causes barriers and limitations that go far beyond the psychological impacts of PTSD. The design of this directory is based on the idea that trauma operates in our heads in a similar way to how an earthquake acts in the physical world. It alters the geography, the topography, the roads change, the sidewalks are destroyed, communication lines are broken, relationships are changed. Domestic violence can change every aspect of a person's life and make it incredibly difficult to think in terms of priorities. This directory tries to take things from a first things first perspective. It starts with basic descriptions of what domestic violence is and uses the Duluth model circles to illustrate healthy versus unhealthy relationships. It defines some of the risks of how people in domestic violence relationships have to deal with. Then it inserts a picture of Maslow's Hierarchy. Are y'all familiar with Maslow? He gave us a pyramid to help us understand what needs people need to fulfill and in what priority. Some researchers took Maslow's framework and applied it to the emergency response of a physical earthquake. I've taken that approach but applied it to a mental earthquake. This directory is designed around his framework and is color-coded accordingly. The first few pages are purple because they're sort of generic, and purple is the representative color for domestic violence awareness. The next section is red because it represents the physiological base of Maslow's hierarchy. These are the critical needs. Maslow pointed to shelter, medical care, food, water, basics. This way, the first page has the safe house, a shelter, the first point of contact for many people entering in this world. It is followed by First Step Victim Services, information regarding sexual assault, sex trafficking, and teen dating violence. We also provide information about food pantries, the Children's Clothing Closet for free clothing for kids, and the Department of Social Services as outlets for food, shelter, clothing, and other necessities. The next section is orange and relates to safety, the next level of Maslow's hierarchy, which relates to security, stability, and the freedom from fear and anxiety. We talk about what the police can do, what a protection order is, as well as information about Law New York and the Community Dispute Resolution Center, or CDRC, for legal links. Children's services like CIS are highlighted, as well as a page for the Chemung County Medical Transportation for those who have Medicaid. Therapy provides us with the ability to be free from fear and anxiety, according to Maslow, which is why we provide links to various targeted programs Family Services offers in the safety section. I mentioned several of our programs, but rest assured there are more out there. To wrap up safety, I included a section on tech safety because I think that's an area that too many fail to recognize these days. The next section is green and represents social needs, which includes a sense of love and belonging. Unfortunately, this is a very small section. I included the Salvation Army's support group and a couple of local events that support community survivors. We revert back to the color purple to review information related to the various vulnerable populations like the elderly, immigrants, LGBT, and those with disabilities. One reason I picked this particular folder for the directory is because it has pockets. No more shoving business cards deep into our desks. Instead, we can store information we gather in the future in this one-stop, handy-dandy pocket. So that's the story of the Directory of Community Resources for Domestic Violence in Chemung County. If anyone's interested or has further questions, needs a copy, please feel free to contact me. My contact information will be available at the end. Thank you for your time and have a great day.